Hi everyone, my name is Govind and I work at Semantics 3. We're an e-commerce data company. In this talk, I'm going to talk to you about something called unsupervised catalog generation, which is how do we go from just the homepage or the landing page of an e-commerce website all the way to generating an Excel file with a list of all the products on that website as well as all the attributes associated with the product. I think this talk may be of interest to folks in e-commerce and otherwise because we're going to touch on a whole bunch of different techniques, everything from clustering to supervised classification, a whole bunch of it, to some amount of computer vision and even a little bit of reinforcement learning. I'm going to say a little high level in this talk, but hopefully give you enough of a sense of how we actually go about doing it in practice. The talk is broadly structured in three phases. The first is about how we identify product URLs for a given site. So an e-commerce website may have a whole bunch of different kinds of web pages, category pages, offer pages, deal pages, forums, FAQs, a whole bunch of things. But if we're interested in pulling the catalog, the only thing we're interested in is the product URL. So how do we know what product URLs for a given site look like? Well, we look at how we develop URL signatures, cluster URLs, and generate regexes which are generic enough that when applied to a given URL, if they pass, then they indicate that that product is a product URL. So that'll be a little bit of fun to get started with. Once we know what product URLs look like, the next phase is about how we get as many product URLs as possible. So the more the product URLs we get, the more the products we discover for that site. So here we look at some reinforcement learning techniques for how we can use strategies to maximize the number of product URLs that we can find. Why strategies? Well, think of, for example, how you may pull a list of all the t-shirts on your favorite e-commerce site. You may possibly visit the category page and use pagination to click all the way to the last page and maybe find the next subcategory and proceed from there. So different sites require different strategies. We look here at how we can develop something that's general enough to work across site, across category, and so on. Once we've got our list of product URLs, the final step is how do we get all the data associated with each of the products we're looking at. So we're going to start with how we engineer features using the HTML of the page we're interested in, and also how we get bounding boxes involved in all of this so that we can identify which portion of the page refers to what element. We're also going to look at something which I find very interesting, which is variations. So if you just look at a web page, you can't necessarily tell everything about that product. You might actually have to click on a drop-down button, or you may have to do something else to actually figure out what are, for example, all the colors and sizes available for that particular product. So we're going to look at how we can have an interactive system using headless browsers to extract all of this variation information from the web page. So I think it'll be interesting. Hope you will attend the talk and find it interesting too.